One. All right, so this one says, which function is equivalent to the following, the reciprocal function of secant? So I think I lagged a little bit there, so I'm going to repeat. Which function is equivalent to the following, the reciprocal function of secant? So hopefully you guys remember that from the notes we just wrote. I'm just going to rewrite it out again because we had a couple people come in from the waiting room. We have cosecant is 1 over sine. We have secant is equal to 1 over cosine. Sorry, it's kind of messy. And then we also have cotangent, I'll write it over here, is equal to 1 over tangent. And so when you have 1 over something, that's called a reciprocal. Okay, so they're asking for the reciprocal function of secant. Then we have over here that the reciprocal function of secant is cosine. So then it's literally just multiple choice. You just select cosine and then submit your answer. Any questions? Okay. Cosine. Submit. So these are pretty basic and they are multiple choice. So that's why there's 10 of them. I know it sounds like a lot to have 10 of one problem type, but you'll be okay. For this one, which function is equivalent to the following? For cosine over sine, sine over cosine, I want to remind you guys that you have tangent is sine over cosine, and that cotangent is cosine over sine. So in this case, we have a cotangent. So just select that on your multiple choice. Any questions? Okay. I believe that's all you need to know. You just need to know the cotangent and the tangent and the reciprocals for this one. Oh, I guess you also got to know SOHCAHTOA. So let's just remind you guys of SOHCAHTOA as well. So we have SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. So this, you can remember that. I'm going to zoom in. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. We can remember that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And you can remember that tangent is opposite over adjacent. And then remember that we have our reciprocal identities as well. So the reciprocal of sine is cosecant, which since it is the reciprocal of sine, this is hypotenuse over opposite. I believe you guys have this chart written down before, but I'm just rewriting it to remind you today. Cosine, the reciprocal of that is secant. So the reciprocal of adjacent over hypotenuse is hypotenuse over adjacent. You just flip it around. And then the reciprocal of tangent is cotangent. And so when you flip around this, you get adjacent over opposite. Okay, give you guys 5 seconds to take a picture of this because you already should have it written down in previous notes. So 4 seconds to take a picture of this. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. And we're good, ideally. It's still over here though, so it's not like if you don't have a picture, everything's ruined. So we have hypotenuse over adjacent, and then you just have to take a look and see which one of our chart is showing hypotenuse over adjacent. And we have it right there as secant. So this should be your answer. Okay, I'm gonna go type that in now. Or not type it in, but select it. Okay. The cofunction of tangent, oh yeah, cofunctions. So yes, more things that I need to not remind you, this one's new. So cofunctions are like the one that is kind of related to like your reciprocal identity. So the cofunction of tangent would be the cotangent. Well, I should not use an equal sign. I'll just go like that. I'll draw an arrow. So the cofunction of tangent is cotangent, and the cofunction of sine would be its reciprocal cosecant, because cosecant is 1 over sine. And then we have cosine. The cofunction of cosine would be secant, because secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Okay, so I'll give you guys like 5 seconds to write that down. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to highlight the one that it was. But the cofunction of tangent would be cotangent, according to the chart that we just did. So instead of highlighting it, I'll just select it and put it there. Okay. So the answer. All right. Let's see what else. Reciprocals we've already covered. So I believe that should be all the things in the relationships of trig functions. But if you come up with anything else, just let me know, and then I will come back and I'll record it for you guys. Okay, so that should be it for this section.